Welcome to Dose of Social, your recipe for social media success. I'm Lindsay Mauk,
I'm Kayla Pearlstein.
and this is
Dose
Dose
of
Social.
Social.
So, I am very excited for today's guest. My children are very excited for today's guest, and my children's friends are very excited. Today's guest is Madeline Walden from Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California. Madeline, thanks so much for joining us
Yeah, thank
today.
you.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
So, Madeline, to start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your career path? What led you to working at Aquarium of the Pacific?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of social media managers, I've just been chronically online my entire life at this point. And I was lucky enough to start working in the industry really early in it, through just kind of like running friends' accounts and getting to know people through all of the various social networks that I was on. But when I really started professionally working in social media, I was working for PF Candle Co., which is a candle company based in Los Angeles. And there I learned so much about creating for social media, creating for a brand specifically, and really loved it. I was living in Long Beach at the time. That's where I grew up. And I always wanted to work at the aquarium. Like throughout high school, I was constantly applying. I can work 2 hours a day, but I'll be there. And of course, it didn't work out. But they were actually hiring for a social media specific role for the very first time in 2016. And I just so happened to get it. And I've been there for 9 years now, which is just wild. And I absolutely love it.
I love that. That's such a great story. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's wild working for somewhere this long, especially in such a new industry. Like when I came in, a lot of my coworkers had been there already for 10, 15 years at that point. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I could never work anywhere that long. And then I'm like, oh, when you love your job, that's what you do. You stay.
I love that. So, when you first started at the aquarium, what did social media look like? Did they have social media platforms at the time? Were they actively posting? And how is it
Yeah.
different now?
My manager, Anita, she's amazing. She's an early adopter of everything. So she was in there securing all of our handles everywhere that we possibly could have been. But, as we all know, social media is a full time job and even full time specific per platform or even like a facet of per platform. So she was doing our website at the same time. And also helping out with various marketing efforts. So it was not as regular, of course, as we post now, and really just kind of something that was, when she had time to work on it, then she would. And then sometimes, it would decline a little bit because you're busy with your whole other job. So it was really different back then. And it wasn't until I came on that we started really coming up with strategy and just, strategy is really just regular posting, just putting ourselves out there, creating content around the aquarium on a regular basis, which really changed the game, I think, for us.
So, being there for almost a decade, how has your role evolved as far as titles, responsibilities, challenges, and what new platforms have you expanded into over the years?
Yeah, so my role initially was social media assistant, and I think I can say that like that quickly changed into me just kind of owning our social media presence and developing the brand voice there, which I really love doing. And so my title has changed from coordinator to in between that I think I was just like co-manager. I forget, but now my official title is digital content and community manager, and I really love my title because I think it really applies to what I do. I really am focused on building the community online of the Aquarium Pacific's Instagram accounts or just social media accounts in general, of course. Um, and building the community, building the content strategy there. It's so much fun. I love it so much. So of course we have all of our baseline platforms. But TikTok has really taken off for us in a way that I did not expect. In my whole social media career now, it's just been astronomical compared to every other growth opportunity we've had. So definitely has been our largest kind of shift in our social media space.
Yeah, you have over 2 million followers on TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm. 2.8, I think, at this point.
2.8
Yeah.
million. Incredible. And what year did you launch TikTok for the aquarium?
We started in 2020, early 2020, like January 2020, I believe. And we started out just kind of, again, early adopters, just want a secure handle, make sure we're, just keeping an eye on things. And it was really interesting because we had started creating there just here and there. And TikTok actually approached us to join their educational initiative, which was called Learn on TikTok. And so for the rest of 2020, from like March 2020 on, which was during our closure um, from the pandemic, we were creating videos as a partner with TikTok. So we had our audience just exploded basically overnight. I think within the first couple of months we had hit 100,000 followers, which was already more than we were on any other platform. And I think about a year later we hit 1 million. So it
Wow.
was a wild growth on there.
Wow, that's incredible, and what a special and unique time to launch an educational program with TikTok, because your audience can't come to the aquarium because you're closed, so you brought the aquarium to them on
Exactly.
TikTok.
And
That's
it
so
really kept
cool.
me sane too. I was able to go into work on a pretty regular basis and hang out with animals all day and just be surrounded by our beautiful exhibits. And it was, obviously a really difficult time in our history, but for me, just a wonderful time to connect and feel really connected to the work that the aquarium does. And I always say that my favorite part is, feeling like I'm a part of it in some way, because even though, I'm on my computer all day or I'm running around with my cell phone, I get to be the megaphone that, expands the work that we're doing and gets it out into the world. And it's really special to me because, we do so much good work and I work with such good people. So it's a wonderful job.
That's great. You really get to shine a spotlight on all the amazing things that the aquarium's doing. So, for content, you talked about education, and I know your content is very entertaining as well, edutainment.
Edutainment, exactly. My favorite word.
Um, who is your target audience for the aquarium? And how does it vary for you on the different platforms?
Yeah, so our target audience is mainly we want to encourage visitation. We want people to come to the aquarium and visit and see our animals and directly support our nonprofit. So we're, of course, trying to reach people in the local area of all ages. Our content is family friendly always. And we really just connect, I think, with families, but also people without kids too, which is really cool. It's really important to me to keep our social media presence really accessible. We have a lot of scientists that follow us. We have a lot of people who know a lot about marine biology follow us, but we also have a lot of people that don't. And so it's really important to me to keep our social media voice just really accessible and digestible for everybody. So we kind of go back and forth. There'll be some posts that are a little higher level, and then some posts that kind of fall on that more edutainment side. And so there's kind of like a constant back and forth. It's really important to me for everybody to feel included in our social media presence. And right now, it's pretty similar per platform. Posts are kind of tailored slightly different, but just as a small team, um, as you guys can imagine, it's hard to create something different for each platform. So we're kind of just switching things out a little bit, making sure the captions make sense to wherever they're going. But on top of that, too, we do a lot of live streaming, which is really fun, and I think that's an opportunity we get to connect with adults who are watching our live streams and communicating back and forth. And that's been a really, really fun way to connect with an audience that we're potentially missing. The aquarium is a family-friendly destination, but we want to make sure we're appealing to just about everybody.
That's awesome. So you've had many pieces of content, dare I say, go viral. Have you noticed a pattern in the types of content that go viral, and what have you learned from the success?
Yeah, sea lions go viral. It's hard to know though because of course this podcast is just between us now. It's not like you're gonna post it anywhere, but the sea lions are my favorite. So they got a lot of spotlight time and they're just such charismatic animals, and I think they really help to tell the story of the aquarium and the passion behind the people who work for the aquarium, work with them and work at the aquarium. And you get to see that connection opportunity there. So it's a really good way to, pardon my, joke here, hook people and get them to, get hooked on our content and be like, what are these silly sea lions doing? How did they train, a 600-pound sea lion to bark on command? Like, I got to know more about this place. And then you end up learning so much more about our conservation efforts and falling in love with all of the other animals that live at the aquarium, even ones that don't have faces, like our jellies. So the viral content is awesome because it really informs, what the audience is looking for, that we can initially grab them and then keep them around with our other stories.
Yeah, I love the content where you rate the sea lion's barks.
That was like our first. We had some content go, viral as far as like what I would call viral. But that was really like the biggest explosive opportunity. And my colleague Erin, who stars in the video, or in the initial part of it, she was recognized, and she continues to be recognized from that video. And they're like, even she's wearing a mask, and she's like, "Is that you? Were you in this TikTok?" And she's like, "Yeah, that was me getting
Oh
screamed
my
at by sea
gosh.
lions." Yep.
I love it. That's so fun. Yeah. And that's Parker is one of the sea lions, right?
Yeah, Parker, our
But
big guy. That's our
Parker
mature
is
male
your
sea lion.
star.
He really is. My baby. He's just a giant puppy, They're such amazing animals, and I have so much respect for them, and getting to see the personality of creatures like Parker, it's the coolest thing. They're all so unique, and they're all so different. Just like us.
Yeah, no, definitely. And on the topic of Parker, I know he's one of the animals that has taken a personality in your content strategy. Are there other animals in the aquarium that have had that same effect on your audience? And how do you manage that and balance airtime between them and the other
Yeah,
animals at the aquarium?
we had a lot of amazing iconic animals really find their audience, and an opportunity for people to feel connected to the animal directly, which is really cool. If we can inspire someone to connect with an animal, especially by name, especially by just knowing their personality, knowing where they are in the aquarium, they're our goal is always to treat these animals as ambassadors for their wild counterparts. So if you can come and see Parker, you're gonna think twice before throwing your trash in the parking lot. If you can come and connect with touch a sea star, you're gonna think twice before, like, let's leave our trash just behind at the beach, or yeah, let's just pick up sea life out there. So you're gonna be much more respectable to their wild counterparts, which is really awesome. But yeah, all of our animals really kind of just build out their own mini fan clubs. I mean, everything from, like, we have this fish named Captain Hook. He's a balloon puffer fish, and he's currently going viral on someone else's account because he's so interactive with our guests, and he will just play along and follow you. And he's in the tunnel, in our tropical reef tunnel. And he is just so charismatic, and it's a fish. Like, people don't expect these opportunities to connect and like really see wonder in the eyes of a fish, and it's really cool. It's a really amazing way to, again, build that gap between their ambassador to their wild counterparts. But I think there's an opportunity for every animal to have that connection. And really, it's what's going on at the aquarium that informs our content, who gets what's airtime, or kind of, who's on bat, who's coming up. There will be sometimes where I'm like, okay, I got to post something other than a sea lion. Like, let me get out there. Or, like, we have our iconic animals, which are our sea otters, of course, our sea jellies, our stingrays, our sharks. But the aquarium does so much incredible work with amphibians, and with, teeny tiny abalones, and all of these animals who people might not know about right off the bat. But I feel like it's our responsibility to educate them if they can't get here in person, or at least get them excited enough to come visit and see these efforts in person.
My daughter's a big fan of the puffins at the
Oh my gosh,
aquarium.
you're so sweet. Birds are really unique, and we have aquatic birds like our penguins, our puffins, and then we have a really incredible show happening right now called Wings of the Pacific, where our ambassador birds, who aren't on exhibit all of the time, they live behind the scenes. They come out and do a really interactive show in our Pacific Visions theater. It's really cool.
That is real. You were talking about Captain Hook, and I'm thinking of like Finding Nemo, and my brain just got stuck there.
Nemo is a clownfish.
I know, but they're also interactive in the ocean.
Exactly. No, the clownfish are incredible. We'll hear, all the time, all of the character names that you can possibly imagine being shouted out as you walk around the aquarium. It's really cool that, our audience is getting an opportunity to connect with these animals in real life and then hearing these iconic references in pop culture. It's awesome.
It is fun. I mean, my kids, like, anytime they go to the dentist or anywhere that has, like, a really cool aquarium, they're always like, "Where's Nemo? Is Nemo in here?" And they're like,
Dentists having really cool aquarium. Like, my dentist growing up was all aquarium themed. Is that why I work here? Wait, I'm discovering something about myself. My dentist was all underwater themed. Huh. And
yeah,
it was
like,
beautiful. Maybe
well,
that's why maybe that's why I work here now.
right? I mean, yesterday I was at the dentist with my kids and they had this gorgeous aquarium and my daughter walks up to me. She's like, "Mom, they just got a new puffer fish." And she shows me, and then the person behind the desk goes, "Oh, you just saw our new puffer fish." And I was like, "How did you know that they
You
have a new
know?
puffer fish?" And she goes, "I haven't seen it before." So, like, she's super
He's
aware of what's going
studying,
on in the
yeah.
tank. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Dentists and aquariums. Love
Yeah,
it.
something about it.
Okay, so Madeline, let's talk about events. The aquarium runs many events throughout the year. Oftentimes, they are very hard to get into. I know your summer camp is
It's a
extremely
hot
popular.
ticket.
It is
Mhm.
a hot ticket. How far in advance do you plan social campaigns around the aquarium events, and how much flexibility do you leave for real-time content?
Yeah, so for, things like camps that require a lot more planning for parents, we're posting, our summer camp gets shouted out in March. That's typically when it goes on sale. So there's things like that require a great amount of leadway, especially in the social world. But for pretty much everything else, we're starting to ramp up talking about it about a month in advance. That's usually when it gets a Facebook event created, and we kind of just slowly start rolling it out. And then as the event gets closer, usually within about 2 weeks before, as you know, social is so immediate. And it really depends if, the right audience is going to see it every time that the algorithm resets anyway. So we want to make sure that we're sharing them in advance enough that, you can make plans for it. But also not too far in advance that you're like, oh, I'll buy tickets to that later. So it's a great way for us to, you know, garner support for the aquarium through our events. That the money through every single event, every single dollar spent at the aquarium goes back to the nonprofit and supporting our conservation and education efforts. So events are an incredible way for people to come visit the aquarium outside of the day to day and do something different, and also feel like they're getting a great opportunity to connect. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is that they're directly supporting all of the animals that they see, which is really cool.
Yeah,
That's
that's
really
wonderful.
So you have what many social media managers might consider to be a dream job, focusing on dream content. What is your social/content team structure? Are you guys in-house contractors, video production interns? How does that work?
We are for all organic social, we are all in-house, which is really cool. Me myself, I have my manager Anita. Her and I work together on our content strategy and just throughout our social media. But we have video and content support just in general from our AV team, and then also from a new team at the aquarium called the Pacific Pals. New on social media, at least they've been around at the aquarium for a long time, but they have created their own social media presence, which is really cool. And they're all like, so the Pacific Pals are puppeteer troupe. I think that's the right way to say it. Um, but they're puppeteers and they create amazing content for our audience. But they're also just like jack of all trades, Jack and Jills of all trades. And they are video editors, they're comedians, they're just kind of, truly they do a little bit of everything. So it's great to get that extra help around the aquarium. And, there's 12,000 animals and I'm only one person with my phone. That's what I feel the most comfortable creating on. But they have these amazing, beautiful cameras that are able to capture underwater footage and go out with us on sea turtle releases and really, film what we're doing, like a really strong content team, which is awesome. And then we newly have a data asset manager who oversees just whatever content is coming in, whether it be from volunteers or myself or the Pacific Palace teams as well. And he's actually a really great photographer on top of it. So we're kind of pulling from everybody um, which is really fun and a great way to get so many different types of content out there on our social channels. And then I really rely on our animal care staff too, who's getting those up close personal moments with our animals. And again, I think if the way I film my dog is different than the way anyone else is going to film my dog, right? I have the connection to my dog, and the way that they film their animals that they care for and that they have this deep love for, and they're spending the 8 hours a day thinking, making sure this animal's okay, trying to make sure it's enriched and all of the things that the aquarium values. They're going to take a picture of that animal or take a video of that animal in a much different way than I ever could. So it's really cool to see that level of care and love come across in the content that they're sharing with me. And that really came from just being around. And our animal care team is so busy. They're constantly running around back and forth between feeds and food prep and all of the amazing things that they're doing every day. So it's important for me to just be like, hey, what are you up to today? Can I follow you? Or you did this really cool enrichment earlier, did you happen to get any footage? And they're like, yeah, of course I did, it was so much fun. We did penguins and bubbles, and they had this like amazing bubble party up on Penguin Beach, and I filmed it, and here you go. It's just a great way for me to connect with our staff and also our animals in fun new ways.
Dream job.
It is.
Penguin bubble party? Are you
I
kidding me?
know. I got a text yesterday. I'm off Thursdays and Fridays, and I got a text yesterday, and my coworker was like, "Are you interested in penguin parkour?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about, but yes." And like, should I just drive there now? Like, it's my day off, but should I just like go as a person? And I was out and about, and I couldn't make it over, but there's so many opportunities like that where I'm like, can I just live here? Like, it's really a dream job. I feel very, very lucky. I get so many opportunities to connect with our animals, and then I don't have to pick up their poop, which is awesome.
You really have it wonderful.
I think so.
Wow, you have it good for sure. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so cool. So what are your team's KPIs for social media? Like what does the aquarium view as success for social media?
I feel also really lucky in this space too, because we're not super analytics driven. It's really just making sure that we are supporting our nonprofits efforts in any way that we can. We have fundraisers and we have visitor goals and all of those things that we consistently meet. But when it comes to what content I find, performs correctly or what I would like it to correctly perform as, it really varies based on the goal of the post. If the post is to share someone's experience at the aquarium and someone comments, and engages with it, that's successful to me. There's, as we know, there's posts that go out there and get, almost no engagement. So maybe not so successful. And we take those opportunities to rethink, okay, these are all important. Every post is important. Every post that goes out there is really valuable. And again, just goes back to the aquarium's mission. But how can we shift if something isn't performing in a way that feels like it should? So maybe we didn't tell the story correctly, or maybe there's a different way. Maybe we can be a little sillier. Maybe we should be a little serious, about this particular story. So it's really just being flexible and adjusting based on the planning of each post and then the outcome of each post. So there's really no specific thing that we are going for. It's mostly, as social media managers, I don't know if you relate to this, but me and my boss Anita, we're just like, the vibe is off, the vibe is good. It's really comes down to vibe a lot of the time, which I think is infuriating to people who are very analytics driven. So I appreciate the support from our other team members who are like, okay, but like, what is good? And I'm like, well, if it has a lot of views and there's a lot of engagement, that's good. But also more importantly, like, someone is talking about this to their friends or sharing this post with their family members. They're coming to the aquarium because they saw this opportunity to connect with us. So it's really varies, like I said, per post.
Yeah, it's got to pass the vibe check. Absolutely.
You get it. I knew you guys would get it.
So, over the next 3 to 5 years, how do you see social and content strategy evolving for the aquarium, and what keeps you most excited?
I think that because we're kind of building out this core content team, it'll be really cool to just have better quality and more cinematic opportunities to share. over the next couple of years. I'm really looking forward to that. A lot of our viral content I think does really well because it kind of looks like anyone could film it. You could walk into the aquarium with your phone and film it, and I want to make sure that our audience continues to feel that way. But also, there's sometimes you don't capture the beauty of our animals or the beauty of an exhibit or the beauty of the aquarium in general with just my cell phone. So I'm looking forward to more opportunities to create with just a stronger content team. I also think that video content will continue to do really well for us. Vertical video is so incredible and such a great way to storytell. That really keeps me excited. We also do a podcast with the aquarium. I'm one of the hosts. It's called Aquarium of the Podcific. And it's not about social media. We talk about social media because I can't not. But really it is animal care and conservation focus with just stories all around the aquarium. So I would love those opportunities to do more long form storytelling. We're in such a place right now where everything is a dose of social, literally. That I would love to find opportunities to tell these really incredible stories that can't fit into 15, 30 seconds. And that makes me really excited. I look forward to that.
Yeah, that's great. I took a listen to your Podcific podcast.
Podcific. Maybe we realize too, it's like not the easiest SEO opportunity. It's not a great SEO opportunity at all because anytime you search for Aquarium of the Podcific, it thinks you're misspelling Pacific, but it makes us laugh, so it's staying for now.
Yeah, but what a great opportunity to have that opportunity to do that longer form audio and visual content and deep dive into the scientific and, I think one of the ones I listened to was like on monarch butterflies. Is that right?
Yeah, that was our most
Yes.
recent episode. It's really fun because I act as the audience surrogate. So you'll hear me just throwing questions out there, knowing what our social media audiences are going to ask for each question, everything that we talk about. And then I have my brilliant co-host, Erin Lundy, who just happens to know like a lot about a lot of things. And then we have another animal care specialist or whoever the best person to interview would be for the episode theme on. And I end up walking away, probably learning as much as the audience does every single time. It's a really fun way to just interact and again, connect with different parts of the aquarium that we're not able to share in, just a bite-sized piece of content.
No, that's great. I love it.
Yeah.
But what advice would you give to business owners or small organizations who want to build social content that's tied into education and also mission driven and not just promotional and sales driven?
My number one piece of advice is always to use the platform you're trying to create on as a user first. Again, of course, secure your handles, make sure that you're good there. But if you're not using Instagram, if you're not absorbing reels, if you're not using TikTok, if you're not, using Blue Sky or these new emerging social platforms, then you're gonna have a really hard time understanding the community voice and how they differ per each platform and just the vibe, I guess, really, if it comes down to it. And so that's my biggest piece of advice. And again, mixing those education opportunities with like a little bit of humor just to get people in the door, and then you can tell your vital stories, the things that you're there to tell, or specifically around nonprofits, there to fundraise and share and garner support on. But yeah, that's my number one piece of advice is use a platform like get to know your algorithm, see what, you'll find on there, and you'll, I think, be a better social media manager just in general for it.
Absolutely. That's great advice.
Yeah. And Madeline, where can everyone learn more about you, about the aquarium, about your podcast?
Yeah, so you can find everything about the aquarium at Aquarium Pacific on pretty much every single platform. If you can't find us at Aquarium Pacific, we're just Aquarium of the Pacific. If you search for us, you should find us. It's my job to make sure you'll find us. So let me know if you can't find us, but you should be able to. And myself, I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn anytime. My name on LinkedIn is Madeline Joy Walden. And I'm always happy to talk social. So feel free to reach out. The Aquarium's podcast, Aquarium of the Podcific, is available on all streaming platforms. You can search Aquarium of the Podcific. You can search Aquarium of the Pacific. We should come up there. We have a sea lion as our little logo.
Of course you do.
I know.
And if you are in the Los Angeles or Orange County area, I would encourage you to go visit Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California. It is quite a special place. So
Please do. Yeah, come on down to Long Beach anytime.
All right, Madeline, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so amazing, so great getting to learn more about the ins and outs of the Aquarium of the Pacific and social media. Really appreciate your time today.
Yeah,
Of
thank
course.
you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It was so fun hanging out with you guys.
All right, thanks so much for listening to Dose of Social, everyone. We're out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.